Greetings and welcome, Internet, to Parsing John, Chapter 1. Today we're going to take a look at verse 15, right there. Here we've got our rubric for us, so you should commit that to memory if you've forgotten it already. Let's put that just barely in the screen. All right, so first thing, I noticed something earlier, which is an error, and I'm sorry about it. For those of you who are paying very close attention to the previous video, you'll note that there are some inaccuracies in the text that I have here right now. I did not do as thorough a job as I thought I had done preparing this one. Our errors, red, we've got these two words right here, ho and apon. It should actually be hon and a hon with an omicron, not an omega, with the text that I actually have here. It does change a lot of what's going on in this text, which I'll talk about when I get there. All right, let's read it aloud. Ioannes martorei peri autu kai kekragen legon, hotos ein hon epon ho opiso mu arkomenos emprosten mu gegonen hoti protos mu ein. All right, so far our text. All right, we want to find our verb first, as always, and it's going to be right here. We've got epsilon iota, a there, which tells us it is a third person and singular ending. We don't have any, just lost the turn, any vowel before the stem, so we know it's not going to be perfect, not perfect, imperfect, or aorist. There's no reduplication, so it's not going to be perfect or any of those tenses. So present is our only option. Technically, future is also an option, but we'd be expecting something else right here. This is a contract verb after all. All right, so present, and it's active, and it is indicative, and it just means witness. It says, since we got a third person. All right, so we want a singular subject. We take a look beforehand, and we see Ioannes. We've got eta sigma there, which is normally either a nominative singular first declension or nominative singular third. Since this is a name that is not native to Greek, it's going to be a bit more of a troubling word. The Greek authors, John writing in Greek, will have had to have, or his translator, if he wrote in Aramaic, will have had to, I forget another term, converted the name, the Jewish name, into a Greek word, and I think normally that they do the first declension. So this can be, if we were to decline, this would be ace, u, and then I and a, or a, eta, iota, and eta, nu, as our other endings. But anyway, long story short, this is a nominative, singular, masculine, irregular word. And it, of course, just means John. All right, so far so good. So John witnesses. What does he witness? Why, he witnesses a prepositional phrase. Peri takes the genitive case. Got u right there. So genitive, singular, masculine. We already know from the bazillion times you've seen it before now. Incidentally, children, bazillion is not a real number. Don't add that to your vocab. It means about him, capitalized him, going all the way back to verse 1 and verse 2. Kai, we've got a coordinating conjunction. And Kragen. N here tells us that it's going to be a third person, and it is singular. Kek here is an instance of reduplication, which we see in the perfect and the pluperfect tenses. And we've got an N ending, which is going to make it perfect. And it is active and indicative. And this verb means either to cry out, shout, or not shout, cry out, scream, or shriek. We're not going to do shriek. Cry out is going to make a lot more sense. Oh. Cried out. Include the perfect marker there. Has cried out. Legon here. We've got an omega nu ending off of the present stem, which means that this is going to be a participle. We've got a nominative, on, singular, and it's going to be present. active. If we're not active, we'd have legomen os, and it would be a first or second declension ending, but no, we have third declension endings. Ontos, I believe. No. Okay, my brain fails me there. I don't remember how the participles work, clearly. Anyway, nominative singular present active participle. Okay. Saying. All right, so our first clause is John witnesses about him and has cried out, saying, comma, and this is what he says. So we can put quote marks here. I'm going to do this in red. Wow, it's almost like it's a real media production. All right, saying, hotos. Hutos, not hotos. So we've seen this word before. Os is our ending, so we know it's nominative, singular, masculine. And it's the closer of the two demonstratives. So this one, quotations, this one, remember that we can add that in here when we don't have a specific noun for this demonstrative to be pointing out. For English, we need to put a word in there for clarity's sake. This one, ein, here is our verb. This is a third person, singular, imperfect, active, and it is indicative of the verb eimi. Means was. This one was. And now here we come to the problem in the text, which I did not check for earlier. Sorry about that. So this text is pulled from the Perseus Project. It's a wonderful website that's got a ton of different texts in Greek, Latin. I think they've also got Arabic and Nordic, maybe. But anyway, I pulled it directly from there. That's where I get all this rather than having to type it all out from my edition. And normally I'll check the text before I print the piece of paper and before I start filming with my copy of the Greek New Testament. I evidently missed these two words here. So if we leave it as is, this is going to be the article. It's going to be an article with an aorist active participle, and it would be, and has cried out saying, this was the one having said. But that doesn't make sense in the context of the rest of the passage, so we're going to go with what it should be. Cross that out. Don't need to cross out the omega. What it should be is accusative, singular, masculine, and first person, singular, aorist, active, and indicative of lego, I say. So this would be I said or spoke of. Who? Not from this one. No, definitely not from this one. All right, so problem fixed. Apologies. I'll try to make sure that does not happen again. Hutos ein hon epon. This one was who I spoke of. Comma. Ho opiso. We've got this one is a nominative singular article, masculine. And here we would say the. Okay. As we take a look ahead, we don't have a noun for it to modify to point to. So we're going to stick in the word one again. The one. And now we want to find our verb, like we should have done a while ago. Verb is technically gegonen. Got epsilon nu there. That's going to be a third person, singular. This has got perfect endings, and we can see the ge there for reduplication. So we know it's a perfect tense, confirmed. And it's active. No. Genomai. Genomai is deponent. Correct that. Dep. And indicative. And this means, since we're in the perfect, we're going to say has become, or technically, what's the other way? I'm failing a lot today again. Has, spelled with an H, not a B. Been born. That's probably wrong. Anyway. Okay, so there's our action. But we've got a whole bunch of other stuff in between. So we're going to take a look at this next word here, which has clearly masculine nominative singular ending. This is a participle. So nominative singular masculine. And erko is our present stem. It's present. Erkomai is a deponent verb, so this can only appear in the middle passive participle form. Dep. And it is, of course, as I said, a participle, not spelled past. Okay, and this would just mean coming. All right. The one has become coming. Coming what? Hopiso mu and prosten mu. Hopiso is technically an adverb, and I think we actually ran into this beforehand and didn't go into further details about it. As I said, it's an adverb, but it is quite frequently used improperly as a preposition, and when it is functioning as a preposition, it takes the genitive in its object, hence mu being genitive singular. And of course it's going to be masculine because it's referring to John, and John is a man. Otherwise, though, we wouldn't know for certain without specifics about the referent of mu. And opiso, not hopiso, means before. No, that's in person. After or behind me. There we go. Okay. And then we deal with emprosten. Emprosten also takes the genitive. And this one I had to look into a lot more detail. And apparently, in all the contexts where we see emprosten used in the same sentence as genomai, this verb here, it has a different meaning than just before. It actually has to do with ranking system somehow or other. I think I can't remember exactly what the dictionary said, but I think it's in one of Demosthenes' speeches where emprosten with genomai shows rank. That's something that you can look up. It's pretty deep in the notes though on these two. All right, so we could say ranked before, or technically we could just go with the basic meaning of emprosten, which is just before, and of course, same thing there as here, me. All right, so this clause, the one, we're going to go ahead and do the participle first because you got technically two clauses in here. The one coming after or behind me has become ranked before me, or technically the sense of this sentence allows us to shrink this down even more, which is something I don't normally like doing. Not that what I like matters. You just say was. Thin that down a bit with that. So then we get the one coming after me was ranked before me. All right. So in this clause, hoti means because. Protos, mu ein. Ein here is our verb. We've already parsed an ein, so I'm going to leave this blank, relying on this parsing right here. Was. Now to protos. Clearly has a nominative singular masculine ending. But here's the cool thing. Finally, after 14 and a half verses, almost 15 verses, we get to give an adjective its fourth identifier. So if you recall, from our rubric, we have adjectives, the cases, the numbers, the genders, and the special for adjectives, where applicable, the degree. Well, with protos, we finally get to add in the degree, and it just is the superlative. Yay, so happy. And it just means, because, well, we could say firstest, but that's not an English word, because we just repeat before me, he was. All right, so there's chapter 15, verse 15. Our translation from the beginning is then, John witnesses, note the present tense, and this is probably going to be a present, more vivid idea. John witnesses about him and has cried out, saying, this one was who I spoke of. The one coming after me was ranked before me because he was before me, or firstest in relation to me. All right, so there is John chapter 1, verse 15. I hope taking a look at this has been as useful to you as it has been to me. Hello, airplane. And I hope that you join me in my next video, where, ideally, the next text won't have errors like those two. All right, farewell, and have a good day. Creaking chair.